Still not started. There we go. All right. So yeah, like I was saying, I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of talking to quite a few different people, and I've noticed something with the people that are marketing in the online space right now. People that are actually having a lot of struggles. People that are having some issues, generating income in their business, and for the lack of better words, it's kind of it bothers me quite a bit because when I first got started online. I didn't have a mentor or somebody to guide me in the right direction, and it's one of those things that it bothered me quite a bit. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to share with you guys tonight, it's just a couple of different principles. Mainly, this is kind of like a call where we're actually going to be talking more about. It's going to be more about the mindset than anything else, simply because I know how tough it can be when you have a business and you actually want to be able to leverage your own efforts and the efforts of others, excuse me, and actually be able to earn more income while you're sleeping, earn income and actually not have to worry about, well, am I going to be able to pay my bills? How am I going to be able to eat? Am I going to be able to take a vacation? Can I take a day off if I get sick? Well, do I have to call in, that kind of stuff? And I'm gonna be giving you guys some principles on mindset above anything else. We're gonna talk about marketing a little bit. I'm gonna show you where you can actually get some. So I'm gonna show you some sources where you can start to generate some income without having to invest much money. If most of the stuff I'm going to show you, it's mainly for that newbie marketer that's new to online marketing, and also those that have been online for quite some time and they're still struggling to make their first sale, generate their first lead, along those lines. You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to be covering, and I'm going to try to deliver it in such a way in a very short period of time, so that one, I don't overwhelm you with too much information, and then also I give you just exactly what you need to meet, so you can understand what you need to do so that you can take action right now to have success in your business. So, with that said, again, my name is King Leonidas, and my background here, I've spent 10 years in the military. I just got out the military about 23 months ago now. And my career as a marketer started way back when I was 18 years old. I was actually stationed on Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah, I was actually started at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I actually ended up going to Afghanistan at a very young age. I came back from Afghanistan because of the birth of my first child, and it was a life changing experience. I was 18 years old when she was born, and it's one of those things that you're not really prepared for at such a young age. But hey, life happens to you, and you just gotta either sink or swim and just react. So I ended up having to make some decisions, because I ended up being in a position where I was making money, I was getting paid, but by the end of the day, payday, if it was first, for instance, I would be broke. I would literally have no money left in the bank after my bills were paid, and it was something that was happening month after month, even after a deployment, because I had some personal issues with some stuff, some negative stuff that happened that didn't really help me to move forward financially. So what did I start to do? I looked at my laptop computer and I said, man, I heard people talk about this. I forget where. I think at that time, social media was like blackplanet.com and like High Five, if I remember correct. I don't think MySpace and all those things were around. I think like MSN Messenger, and I would actually hear. Oh, I would hear it on Bloomberg information as well, because I used to watch a lot of Bloomberg about stocks and all that kind of stuff. Because I've always been interested to see how people have generated their wealth to have the houses that they want, the lifestyle that they want, the freedom. But I never understood how they were able to do it. I would always hear that people would be making money, sitting on the beach or under a tree, doing. Hang on a second. Oh, okay. I just had somebody send me a message there. All right, great. Hey, Doctor Hugh, no problem, man. Definitely, if you've got an emergency, go ahead and take care of that, man. This webinar is being recorded, so I will send it to you. I will send this out. Just check your email for it, and you're gonna get a copy of it. So no worries, man. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so it was one of those things where I had to make a quick decision on what I wanted to do. I heard these stories about people making money on the internet, with the cell phone or what have you, and I wanted to figure out how they did this. I really wanted to understand how is it they were able to leverage these tools to be able to generate income. I had no idea how this worked. So I looked in the newspaper because I know I needed more money, but I did not understand well how to go about doing it. I looked in the newspaper and I found a classified ad that read work from home, asked me how. There was an 800 number. I called the number, spoke to a nice couple that evening, and my career in network marketing began April of 2002, 2003, sorry. So 10 years now, roughly, I've been in the marketing game. Since then, 4 months into that program, I was lucky enough to make, I think it was somewhere to the tune of just about $4,000 in that short period of time. And from there, I ended up going to Iraq. I went to Iraq for I think it was 9 months at the time. This was 10 years ago now, and it was unfortunate that I had to do that. But the entire time I was in Iraq, all I thought about was that month where I made 4 times my military income. You know what I mean? And that really spoke worlds to me. I wanted to figure out how I could do that on a regular basis so that it would happen over and over and over, and I can actually leave the military. I actually thought about leaving the military at that time. During my time in Iraq, I was fortunate enough to get an assignment to go up to Vicenza, Italy. I loved it because it was a childhood dream that I wanted to actually have happen to me, and fortunate for me, it did happen. I was actually able to get to Vicenza, and it changed my life because when I got there, my business exploded. Like 3 months into Vicenza, I started making $9,000 a month, $15,000 a month, as much as $22,000 in a single month I would make. But it was a combination of my military income as well as my marketing efforts. It was really easy to market the product that I was marketing at the time. It was a weight loss supplement that I was marketing, very reputable company. If I call the name, you know the company. And I ended up making something to the tune of close to just over $100,000 in a single year. And that was my first time ever doing over six figures in a 12-month period. The problem with it was I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a coach. I was a very rebellious. I didn't call my mom. I didn't call my dad. I did not seek financial advice about that. And I was just living frugal. I actually had the opportunity, first time ever in my life, to ride in a car like the one you're seeing on screen right now. And I fell in love with that lifestyle. I fell in love with it. I would go out and hang out and spend $5,000, $6,000 a night and not even worry about it because the money would come in each and every single month without worry. And I didn't think that one day it could go away until I made that fatal mistake. And guess what? Business went away. I went from making over $15,000 a month consecutively, consistently, down to about 25 to $3,000 per month. So you can imagine what happened to me financially, mentally. I was stressed. My lifestyle literally uh, went down to nothing. You know what I mean? I had cars, I had everything that I could possibly want. All my bills were paid, and it was just crazy how that whirlwind just happened in a very short period of time. And it finally taught me a major, major life lesson. It actually took me quite some time to bounce back from that because it was my first failure that I had met in my life. I had never failed at anything before in my life, especially being that I graduated high school at 16. I was a musician at a very early age. I performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people before. Never had I had failure until I was a grown adult in the army, and this happened to me. Life was turned upside down. So what happened? I came back to the states, ended up getting stationed on Fort Bragg. Stumbled into another marketer that was talking about a marketing system. Uh, it was kind of by accident, but nothing's by accident. It was all coincidence. It was meant to happen because he was talking about a company, and because of his dialect, he's a Hispanic guy. Because of his dialect, it sounded like he mentioned the product that I was promoting at the time. So I ended up, dipping in his conversation to talk to somebody. Long story short, I ended up meeting some very well respected business tycoons that um, broke my understanding of what business was and took it to another level. This is when I met these people. This was the first time I actually met someone in person that actually knew people that owned a private island, and that kind of spoke wonders to me because I mean, who owns a private island? You know what I mean? I come to find out the private island that the company owned. I used to work on that island when I was younger. I would actually work on the beach and with the gym and stuff, and I actually met some professional basketball players on this island that time and as a kid. And when I thought back to it, the connection clicked, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's probably telling the truth. You know what I mean? Because who do you know that really owns private islands? You know what I'm saying? It sounds like something out of a James Bond movie, something that doesn't happen to regular everyday people. You meet people like this, but I met this guy, and this guy changed my life. He's been a long time mentor of mine. He actually introduced me to books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, How to Influence and Influence People, Personality Plus. I mean, the list goes on and on and on about books and people that he educated me about, and he opened my mind to a different world, a different way of understanding business. I finally understood. I knew what a billionaire was. I didn't even know about the word billion until I met this guy. Which was pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that there were people that had that kind of money because remember I grew up in the Virgin Islands, in the British Virgin Islands, and I wasn't a kid that just watched TV all the time. I was always out playing, doing some kind of outdoor activity, and I didn't really pay attention to the news. None of that kind of stuff when I was growing up in the 90s. I was always out having fun. So this was new information to me. People owning private islands. Um, Long story short, in that company, I barely made any money. If I think I made something like $30, but the culture behind it, the relationships that were built, the lessons that were learned, the events that I attended during that time changed my business career, my life forever because they ended up giving me the foundation of what marketing was all about, what mindset was all about, what leadership was about, what relationship building was about, how to dream, how to actually pursue goals and accomplish goals and build a team and actually be able to connect with people on a large scale. It's been I can talk all day about that stuff, how that changed my life. But anyway, moving on. Since then, I ended up having more negative happen to me in my life. It got so bad at one time where I actually thought about committing suicide a couple of times, and I ended up moving back to the Virgin Islands from Orlando when I moved down to Orlando from North Carolina, and I ended up meeting this guy. He was actually went to high school with him, but I knew of him, but I didn't know who he was until one afternoon I was actually sitting outside of this storefront. One of my blood brothers, I call him, my brother from another mother. He actually introduced me to this guy, and he was a mutual friend of both of ours, and he's a big musician actually. This guy, um, he's a top class, world renowned musician. He's been Grammy nominated with Lady Gaga. He's written books. He's done coaching seminars. He's been coached by Tony Robbins. He's very big on personal development, self growth, and that kind of stuff. And at the time, I had no idea. I just knew he was big in music, and he was working with some big superstars at the time, or what have you. And I didn't know exactly how real it was until one night, after he put on a live event for a book that he wrote. He was actually teaching mindset and how to actually become successful. And the book, unfortunately, it's not published for public. It's not published, so it's not something I can share with you, unfortunately. But he actually invited me up to his house, and that day, that's a story I'll share in another webinar. It's pretty interesting. But that day, when he invited me up to his house, it really changed my thinking of myself, my belief, my self image, because I'm sitting there working with him. He's showing me some stuff on his laptop, and his phone rings, and it's a big superstar on the phone. Ludacris is on the phone. I mean, who has those kind of people calling him? You know what I'm saying? So I really saw how serious and how valuable this guy was because of what I was experiencing with him. And since then, he was my saving grace. He saved my life. He literally turned my life around. Despite having former introduction to this type of life, it was one of those things where there was just so much negative going on around me. I lost sight and I forgot about what was really important. Since then, he introduced me to a book called which book it was, The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and that's when the real entrepreneur within me was born. That's when the real fire within me was born. That's when desire came to a whole new level. And uh, when upon reading that book, I ended up just having a desire to start a business, because I'd actually taken a break from marketing at this time, from MLMs at this time, because it was just so much struggle. I wasn't making much money. I was still depressed and still lost in my past success, that I didn't believe that I could actually get back to that level until I read this book. I highly recommend for you to go out and get the 4 Hour Work Week and read that book. I love that book. I love it. I love it. I love it. A lot of the stuff that's in that book I'm going to be talking about, it's going to sound familiar to some of you that have read it, or when you do read it, this information is going to seem very familiar to you. So, um, I ended up going to coming visiting, taking a vacation, and I read the book. And lo and behold, I just kept telling myself that I wanted to start a new company. I want to start a new company. I want to start a new company. But I did not know what the company was going to be about. I didn't know I didn't know what I wanted to do really, but I knew I wanted to start a company. A few months later, I was actually in the army again. I was packing parachutes. That's what I did my last couple of years in the military. I was packing parachutes, and I get a BlackBerry message from my buddy. You know what I mean? We're good friends at this point. 2 years had already passed. We stayed in close communication, and he sent me a message. He said, "Dude, I'm here in the studio with Rodney Jerkins. But I just met this guy that." He's gonna change our life, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "I got this thing that's gonna be the financial breakthrough for us." So I was like, "All right, cool." It's like a Friday. He said, "When I get back to Boston, I'm gonna give you a call and we're gonna talk." So I got on a three-way call with his mentor, and we talked. He broke down some information to me, showed me the plan, and then I ended up. I told him, "Hey, I got to sleep on it." He just told me, "Hey, you want to get your position now because if you get in after a producer, you're not going to get that volume below you." And I slept with that on my mind. And the very next morning, I got up. I looked at my wife. I said, "Babe, whatever. I feel good about this. I want to do it." And we took all the money we had, which was just $500 in the bank at the time, and I went and I invested. I invested in this company, and I'll be honest, man, my first month I did absolutely nothing. I was so eager to join the company, but my first month at this new deal, I did nothing. Well, it was partly because I had a lot of distraction. I was at work. The unit I was with was getting ready to go to Afghanistan, so I was heavily engaged in helping the guys train up because I wasn't going this time around because I was getting ready to get out the military. And a month later, he calls me up and he says, "Dude, this is like April of 2011." He says, "Dude, you're losing out on money. You've got all these people in your team. What's up? You want to make some money or what?" So I logged into my back office. Lo and behold, there were about 50 to 55 people on my team at this time. And keep in mind, this is my first time logging into the back office. I had never even remembered the company's name at this point. And I said, "Dude, what do I need to do to start making money?" He said, "You need to get some people on a three-way call with me on a conference call, and we're gonna make you some money." So I did that. 2 days later, I ended up making like $500 that month. I think I made something like $2,500 that month. The next month, I doubled that. The month after that, I ended up hitting the first leadership level in the company. The only person out of like 10,000 people that were in that company at that time to hit this pin level in that company, and I did it all working in my basement. But it was a great feeling. However, it took me 11 days to do this. In a relatively short period of time. It was actually it was less than 11 days because it was right after the 4th of July weekend. Because I remember it vividly because I worked a 24-hour shift. I got off. I was actually on shift, walking back and forth in the middle of the road, doing an incantation about me hitting that goal. And I literally, about like 10 days later, I hit the goal. And I actually got on a call with the top earner in the company. This guy was a multi-millionaire, inspired the heck out of me, announced my success on a national call, where I got recognized in front of thousands of people for it, and it took my belief level back to another level where it was prior to that. I ended up doing very well in that company over the summertime. Put over 700 people into that company in a really short period of time, and I did most of the work from my basement. However, I was actually uh, working my butt off. I was on the phone about 16, 18 hours a day, no bullshit. My wife can tell you. It was really frustrating because when I wasn't on the phone, I had to do hotel meetings. I had to go out and do meetings for my team. Online, I had to, it was so much work. But the most fulfilling part for me was when I actually had someone that I was doing a home meeting for introduce me, and they said in the introduction that because of this opportunity, because of what King Leonidas was able to do for me, I was able to put food on my family's table this month and keep our electricity bill paid. When she said that, I had no idea that this happened. I had no idea that she was in that bad financial straits. You know what I'm saying? But when she told me that, like I had a breakthrough. I had like a huge aha moment, and it created a belief within me and it gave me a purpose that I can actually help people get out of financial despair. You know what I'm saying? And I made it my purpose to always do whatever I could to help people financially ever since that day. Um, the company ended up going under, you know what I mean, for whatever reason. My business fell from, I was making ridiculous amounts of money down to nothing. And around October 2011 is when I actually started my journey online. I learned that how my whole entire business at the time was created all started because of my buddy searching for something on Google and stumbling upon somebody's blog, which was pretty interesting. I had no idea what a blog was at the time, did not have a clue how it worked, had no stinking idea that this can work on the internet this way. I mean, it was just, I didn't even think that you could make money online the way that I learned in months to come that you could do it. So with that, I got involved in a marketing system. I started to meet some online marketers that at the time they had a sizable enough name for themselves online, but to me they weren't really real because I hadn't met them yet. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up starting a blog for myself shortly after my youngest daughter was born, in December of 2011. And man, oh man, it was tough. I'll be honest. I struggled my butt off when I first got online. I struggled. Spent over I don't know, something like $7,000 on training courses. The last time I actually had a really big month prior to like this year was at that time was February of 2012. I had a month where I did over $20,000 in a single month from. I mean, it was just gangster effort on my part. Just I mean, but it wasn't duplicatable. You know what I mean? I was on the phone way too much. I didn't. I was a slave to my phone. You know, my phone would ring at 11 p.m., at 1 a.m., and I had people in Alaska, people in California, people in other countries that were calling me to get on three-way calls at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, before I got out the army last March, I made the decision to never work for anybody again. Simply, that was partly because of those calls, and then I got frustrated at doing that, and I tried to figure out how I can actually make Facebook and my blog work for me. I struggled up until Father's Day of 2012. Now, leading up to this, keep in mind I'd already spent over 7 grand on marketing tools. I'd already lost about $4,000 at this point doing PPC ads that I had no idea what I was doing. So I was stumbling from door to door, buying everything under the sun, trying to find that one product that was going to do it for me, trying to find that one deal that was going to do it for me. But reluctantly, I couldn't find it. But somebody introduced me to, I think it was the marketing system I was a part of that introduced me to the actual platform that actually had me make my first sale online, which is pretty interesting because the products that were in that system educated me enough to where I can have the courage to do online marketing. However, I didn't know how to convert. I didn't know how to get leads and convert sales. It wasn't until I got a course on Facebook and I learned how you can actually. And it was a lady that made six figures on Facebook in like something like 6 months or something. And I was like, how in the world did she do that? And I went through the course, and that's when I finally had my first success online. On Father's Day 2012, it happened. I got my first check without picking up the phone, without being on the computer, without doing anything at all. I was literally outside cutting the lawn on Father's Day, believe it or not. I came inside about 5 p.m., checked my email. There were 4 commission notifications that I had made some money. I didn't believe it. I logged into the back office of the system. The money was there, and I was like, holy smokes. A few weeks later, a check shows up in the mail with the money, and I was like, you got to be shitting me. This is real. Like, I finally caught it. I finally caught wind. I finally made it happen, and I was bought ever since. Since then, I ended up investing in a few other deals that, at the time, the people that were involved in those organizations, they were doing monumental things. People were having huge breakthroughs. And at the time, I was like running on fumes financially. So I ended up making huge sacrifices. I mean, doing things that I wouldn't recommend, I wouldn't wish for anybody else to have to do. But if you're that serious and you believe in yourself the way I did at the time, hey, do what you got to do. I actually sold a whole bunch of my personal effects to, pawn some stuff off so I can get the money to invest because I saw the value behind it. I really saw the value and I got in. And, it still was tough for me for a little bit. I didn't get it. And I know as a new marketer, a couple of things that you face coming into marketing is, a lot of you guys, you're too comfortable when it comes to marketing. You don't want to give up an hour of sleep so that you can probably, learn that one little a nugget that you're going to need to take your business to the next level, or, study the marketing, study copywriting. Copywriting was something that I learned that copywriting is the highest paid skill on the internet is in the world. I think it's copywriting. It's writing. When you think about writing, songwriters, playwrights, screenwriters, they make a lot of money because you do the work one time, but you get paid for it over and over and over again. Just like the energy money keeps going, you get paid multiple times for your efforts. You do the work one time and you get paid over and over and over for it, which is friggin' fantastic. So how do you do that? How do you actually tap into the online marketing world and do so well? Um, I've been doing some tests over the past few months, and I found some traffic sources, market some ways that you can actually market any business, any opportunity. Doesn't matter if it's offline, doesn't matter if it's online. You can actually have the opportunity to generate income without having to work your butt off the way I did, or having to sell your stuff, even if you're low on budget. Your budget's pretty small. If you're on a shoestring budget, there's a host of different ways where you can actually be able to do this. So I'm going to show you a couple of different websites. Well, I'm not sure. I'm just going to give you the links because I kind of want to keep this rather short for you tonight because this is mainly just an introduction because I want you to really see how valuable this is and how you can actually take advantage um, of what I'm going to share with you. Because I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Why not be able to have? Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Got some gas there. Why not just be able to take advantage of what's available for you when it's available. You know what I mean? Right now is a very awesome time for you to be able to make money on the internet. Believe it or not, working from home is something that I enjoy because it gives me the freedom, it gives me the leverage. I mean, I can spend all the time with my family. You know what I mean? Since my daughter's been born, my youngest baby, she's 22 months now. She's gonna be a year next month. I'm excited. I mean, I'm sorry, 2 years next month. Wow, she's two already. I can't believe it. I've been able to spend each and every single day of her entire life thus far with her, which I would it's phenomenal for me. I'm so grateful for that. I would have never been able to do that had I had a 9 to 5 job, had I stayed in the military. None of that. I have not missed not one milestone that my daughter's had thus far in her life, and I pride myself on that because I mean one of the most important things to me is to be able to be there for her and be able to have that experience with her each and every single day. So how am I able to generate a solid 4 or 5 figure income monthly? Help people have $5,000 days. You know, it's $600 in 15 minutes. Create $1,000 in 10 minutes. How am I able to do this with using free marketing sources? Well, I've got a couple of mentors that they actually showed me this a few months ago, and I'm the kind of guy that when you show me something, I'm just gonna take action. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I just love taking action. I love being in the hunt. I love being just engaged in an activity because it's fun. It's fun when you can sit there and actually be in front of your computer, helping other people, and just boom, check comes in, boom, another check comes in, boom, checks are just coming in. You get notification after notification, and you can actually be able to just sit back and breathe, make more money while you sleep. Why not? Why not be able to do that? So I'm here to share with you tonight some bonuses that I'm offering in some of my coaching classes that are going to be starting tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm starting my coaching classes. I'm going to be doing small coaching groups of 25 people, and I'm going to be doing a couple classes a day. I might squeeze 3 of them in depending on the demand. Right now, I've got a pretty long waiting list for people that want to get this coaching because I'm doing so. This is something that normally I charge about 200 to 300 bucks an hour for this, but I'm doing this simply because there's so many marketers out there that are struggling right now that that's a problem that needs to be addressed and it needs to be fixed. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we need to really understand marketing. You know what I mean? What is marketing? Marketing. What is marketing? Well, my definition of marketing is simply sharing an opportunity or an idea for others to, or let me say, an idea to solve a problem. In my opinion, in a nutshell, that's what marketing is. You're sharing an opportunity or an idea to solve a problem. You know what I mean? So you have to understand what marketing is. If there's a problem in the marketplace, you create or share an idea to solve that problem. How do you do that? Well, you advertise, right? And advertising is just pretty much advertising is pretty much it's doing like PPC, it's doing solo ads, it's doing one on one. Whoops, that's funny. One on one consulting, right? One on consulting. Um, what else? There's free ways of advertising, and this is what advertising. And this is mainly what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Free stuff, right? The free stuff because there's people that are out there right now that are struggling in their business and we want to fix that struggle. We want people to actually be able to not have to struggle and make money. So how do you go about doing this? Well, there's a couple of different websites, right, that I'm going to be covering in my coaching classes, and I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly, how to use how to use. Oh man, I got virtual. How to use free ads to generate leads for any opportunity. I'm going to show you what I've done to generate red hot targeted leads from three different online websites. I might even give you, a few others that I use, simply because I really want you to have success. But I don't want to overwhelm you up front. I want you to take it one step at a time and be able to actually implement and apply what I'm going to teach you in these courses. These courses are going to be available at a future time. There is going to be an opportunity for you to take advantage of that once they're packaged and ready. So you can always go back and reference back to this training because it works no matter where you are, no matter how you're, what opportunity you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're online. This way that I'm going to teach you to advertise works. Um, works. It works for. Hang on, let me fix it. It works for online opportunities, online biz ops, offline, online biz ops, online biz ops, um, brick and mortar businesses. It works for just about anything. Small practice works for any business model, right? I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. It's not hard. Trust me, anybody can do it. You can train anyone to do what I'm going to be teaching you guys in these courses. Excuse me. Simply because it's generic. It's literally how to advertise effectively. You know what I mean? That's what we're teaching you, how to advertise effectively. I'm going to be showing you guys how to get targeted traffic, how to get targeted traffic from sites such as one, Google, two, YouTube, and number three, Facebook, the marketing monsters of the internet. I'm going to show you how to take those three websites and turn them into your own ATM. Literally, show you how to just have those websites cranking leads out to your business so that you can actually be able to generate income from that. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be something that you're going to be able to. I'm going to show you how to get an autoresponder. You know what I mean? The best autoresponders on the market. I'm going to show you how to get that. I'm going to show you the best one to use, the one that I use, and the reason why I use it. I'm going to show you how to get an autoresponder. We're going to be talking about how to convert leads to buying customers. Then we're going to talk about how to upsell into any offer that you want, right? I may even throw in some bonuses there and give you access to some of my offers that I use, where actually you can actually earn a nice 100% residual income from it. And I have quite a few different offers that you can actually take advantage of because I believe different strokes for different folks. Not everybody's actually going to be able to um to take advantage of one particular offer because you may resonate with one, you may not resonate with it, whatever, what have you. However, what I'm going to be covering in these these coaching classes, it's going to work for anything, no matter what. But there's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind with any business, whether it's offline or online. You have to understand that you've got to have a way to capture leads, right? You got to capture leads. I'm sorry, it's called 3 C's of marketing. You got to create content, right? Two, you got to capture leads, and then three, you gotta learn how to convert those leads, into sales, and that's what we ultimately want at the end of the day. How do we convert those leads into sales? And this is what we're going to be covering in these courses. So just to give you an idea of what's to come. In the classes that are going to start tomorrow. This is just touching the scratching the surface on this. And again, this is mainly for I'm doing this mainly for newbie marketers, and marketers that are struggling marketers. This is really who this is for. This is for marketers that are struggling and newbies. Why? Because a lot of times newbies, they come on the internet and they may or may not have a sponsor that actually knows what they're doing. and it's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you might join an opportunity because somebody might sound like they know what they're doing, and they don't really have the know-how or the knowledge to say, well, yeah, they've done this or they've done that. Yeah, I can tell you for instance, I've helped people make as much as $5,000 in a single day. That I've done. So I know that it's possible to do this. I know exactly how to do it. You just have to simply follow simple principles. And I'm gonna walk you through a platform, a simple system, 1, 2, 3, how you can take advantage of this stuff. Anybody can do this. It literally doesn't require much of your time. You can do this in as little as 90 minutes per day. 90 minutes a day will keep the pain away. It'll keep the bills away. It'll keep headaches away. Just consistently taking action, showing you what I'm going to share with you. You're going to be able to do this hands down without any
Muted.